Hello everyone, Andrew at Fixology, and sorry it's been a little bit since I posted, but work and not getting a lot of repairs in right now have made a little bit slow. So, got my first tablet for the channel today. So we have an iPad 5 with, if you're techie, you've heard of the red screen, the flashing red screen. Normally this is a problem. It's related to data corruption, I guess. But there are a couple, I've read on like forums where the possibility of fixing it is you either replace the cameras or replace the home button might fix that problem. Now, all those parts are replaceable. The only problem that you have to worry about, though, is with the iPad 5s, I believe the 4s and higher, that's when they started doing the Touch ID systems. So, you know, your fingerprint scanner where you just push it on there and it'll unlock for you. If you replace that portion, the Touch ID won't function, but the button itself will still function, so you'll be able to click through and use it and everything. And that's just because there's an IC chip that's on that portion, on that touch part, on the home button. I've seen people try to transfer it, but it's super finicky, and it's honestly not worth the effort to even try that, in my opinion. So we're going to try and save this, hopefully. It's just an old iPad that I got from a relative a while back, and I was just looking at it going, maybe I should try and attempt to fix this. And it'll be a good opportunity to show everyone how to take apart an iPad, which all iPads are fairly similar in terms of opening, except when you get to like the Pros and the Air 2s. So we're gonna start by, I had on the heat pad for probably like 5-10 minutes just to get the adhesive nice and warm all the way around. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna stick an iSesmo tool, or attempt to stick an iSesmo tool, in the bottom left corner. Or in your case, if you're looking at it, it'd be the bottom right, but the bottom left of the device, so right over here. And we're going to get it in there nice and easy. Don't go in too deep. And then we're going to take our isopropylene alcohol and we're going to start working our way around. So you will need guitar picks, obviously. The guitar picks aren't going to cause damage to the paint. And then they're also going to allow you to go around without hopefully causing any more damage. Because the screen on this, it works. Same with the actual LCD. But since it's red screening and boot looping, we got to be super careful about that. So this will be probably a more silent video, at least for the beginning portion while I open it, because we got to be real careful about getting this open. So I'm just concentrating. And when I'm putting these in, I'm putting them in not too far, just enough so you barely see them talking around. And then I'm applying a little pressure on the back side of it. That way you're not actually scratching the LCD, because the LCD and the digitizer, the screen on top, are actually separate components. So you don't want to leave any marks on them. It's hard to clean off. It's not the end of the world. Most people who end up doing repairs on devices like these anyways, we can never guarantee that it's going to be pristine. We don't have a clean room or anything like that like Apple does or anything like that. And as you can see, I am fairly liberal with the ISO. Just a little dab on the top of it to get it in, because it is high content alcohol, so it's not going to leave any residue really. It's going to allow you to break the adhesive cleaner, and then also it's going to evaporate, which is the most important thing. And then what I do, and then here at the top we have a lot of adhesive, so we got to be real careful. It feels like it's getting tight. You can throw a little more alcohol in, obviously. And we're just going to slowly, oops, got to make sure this thing stays in frame. I tell you, having this second monitor that I can hook up my phone to is really useful, so I can see where it's all hiding. Alright, so that slipped a little bit, but that's because there's a lot of adhesive here, not so much around where the camera is. And then I also like to put these in the corner. That way, if they do decide to close back up on me, the most it'll be is the middle, and then I just got to run something really quickly across. Also, I gotta figure out why this mat doesn't stay put. Maybe I gotta put some grippy stuff on the side of it. Alright, it's getting pretty tight. I might actually have to put it on the heat again, which I have my heat pad right here in the corner. Which you should normally set those heat pads for around 75 to 80 Celsius. So I think Fahrenheit, that's 160-ish. 160 what, 165, something like that. It's hot enough to get the adhesive warm, but also not hot enough to cause any damage to the devices. Well, yeah, I would say not at all, because I don't think I've ever had one where if I'm heating it up, it causes damage to the device. I mean, you got to think about it. When these things are getting made, you know, they're all soldered together, so solder melts at around 900 degrees, so 160 is nothing for this thing. Sure, your device might say, oh, it's too hot to operate, but that's normal. That's just a safety feature, so that way it hopefully doesn't get worse or anything like that. And I know I pick stuff all the time up off my desk and clean it up because I'm terrible at keeping a clean workspace. I don't need that. All right. Just keep motoring. I know some places will show those like heatable like strips you can put around the top. I know iFixit has them. I don't know what I think about those, honestly, because it's only around one area at a time, and I feel like it's a little bit slower. I'd rather just warm up the whole thing the entire time. And then also the heat pad, you know, it's you can use it for multiple things as opposed to just one, because those giant those ones that they have are like as big as this. Do you want to put that big of one on top of like a Samsung or like another iPhone? It's kind of weird. Anyway, all right, so we got this all loosened up here. Now I'm gonna work my way on the home button side, which you got to be careful on the home button side. On the top, all you have is the camera up here, which is really hard to damage if you only use a little bit of the pick to go through. But here you have two different Wi-Fi antennas. They're like about here, and then you also have the home button as well, and that flex goes up into the right, or to the top of the device in the orientation that it's in. So you need to be real careful putting it in. Rule of thumb is always, if you're trying to open something and it stops, just stop what you're doing and reevaluate where you're putting it, because that means you're probably caught on something that probably shouldn't be moved. On the plus side, if the Wi-Fi antennas do get broken, they're easily replaceable. It's just that you don't want to have to do that extra work. I'm going nice and slow. Let's see if I can start lifting it up at all. But it got caught in the corner here like I said it would, so I'm just going to take this guy and run it across. Twist it just a bit. And these will open up to the right like a book. Sometimes if the adhesive is weak enough, you can get it all the way across. It's not quite there yet, though. Everybody has their own techniques when opening these. The main thing is just want to be consistent with it, and you're not going to cause damages to anything. And obviously not break the screen itself, especially if you're doing something like a battery swap. Because normally that means the device is fine, it's just dying really fast. Open up to the right. And there we go. So we now have the device opened. Take those off. And you can see the home button is right down here. It goes across to the side here and then goes behind the LCD. Everything is behind the actual LCD, the actual display itself. So in that case, then all we need to do is take it out. It'll have 4 screws, one in each corner, which I'm going to put on my magnet mat directly above me or in front of me. I believe 3 of them are the same, but 1 is different, so I would keep them orientated, or if you have some sort of labeling procedure or whatever way of organizing, make sure you keep them separate. Because I want to say, I think it's the top right that's different, and then the other 3 are the same. Alright, and then sometimes Apple likes to put a rubber cement in the corners, which it looks like in this one they did not, so you don't have to worry about it. Otherwise, they'll be in the corners of all 4 corners, and what you can do to make that weaker is the alcohol doesn't really have much of an effect on rubber, but if you put it on the heat pad for a couple minutes, it'll get weak enough, and then you can just slowly work your way around. You'll hear it like eking up like a stretching noise almost, and eventually it'll pop up. Pull up like this. Alright, and then the first thing we want to do is always disconnect the power, which on an iPad 5 is going to be located right here. Sorry for the glare hitting off the metal portions. I don't know if that's something I can fix at all during editing, but I'll take a look at it. I'm still pretty new at that stuff, so. And then what you want to do to disconnect it is you don't want to shove anything directly underneath it. You kind of want to work your way from the side and like that. So I'm only going halfway because once you disconnect it, that takes off the circuit, so it's no longer an open closed circuit. So you take off the power. And then we have all the flexes that we're going to be working with should all be, or at least some of them are going to be down here. Just 3 little screws. Ba, 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 ba. And then I will take you, pull it up. Sometimes they're stuck to the LCD, which is totally fine. And then once you have the LCD disconnected, what I do is I take a fiber cloth mat, or fiber cloth, whatever, microfiber cloth. Ugh, brains are hard. And then I put it face down on it, so that way it covers the LCD, it's not going to scratch it, and then I can put it off to the side for when I put it back together. Because we don't need it right now. Alright, so what now I'm trying to figure out what probably the easiest way to work on this. First off, I got to figure out, oh, there are my parts. Actually, I might keep the LCD next to me because I gotta test it all. And this is all just based off of it might fix it. At the very least, it can be used as a guide for like how to disassemble an iPad to get it to the point where you need to work on it. So, you know, it's 2 birds, 1 stone. If I can get this thing to start working afterwards as well, great. I can either try to resell it, but you know, it's an iPad 5, so I don't know how. It's probably only gonna be worth like 50, 75 bucks. Or I can maybe give it to a relative or something like that, you know, to be the nice guy. Alright, so I got all my parts here. Oh, I realized I grabbed a white home button when this is a black one. Oh well. Doesn't affect how it functions. Okay, so the first thing I want to try is I am going to disconnect the back camera because it's one of the easier ones. Also, this cord is in the way, really annoyingly, so I'm going to move that. And then I'm going to move everything up here over a bit. Oops. Boop. Okay. Alright, so that's just a little front shield for it. Okie dokie, so I need a spudger, so I'm gonna pop that guy off. And then I can't remember. I want to say it's sitting in there in a little bit of like silicone or something like that. You don't really have to replace cameras very often. They don't fail very much, so it's not as common of a repair, but I think I'm getting it. At least I'm getting out the framing for it. Okay. Ooh. What are you stuck on? What are you stuck on? Oh, a little bit of glue. A little bit of adhesive. Alright, so there is the itty bitty camera with its little frame. Now, I believe... Okay, so the new one doesn't come with that part, so I'm imagining this pops out somehow. Oh yeah, I can see a little bit of glue along the outside here, so... Oh wait, that might be plastic. Hmm. Yeah, I haven't done a rear camera on anything in a while. If I pull it, yeah, it's not coming. I'm gonna grab an X-Acto knife. And then what I'm gonna do to be safe is so I don't accidentally cut the battery, is I'm just gonna flip this over the top real quick. I don't know how well I'm gonna be able to zoom in on this. This is pretty small to work on. Don't feel a seam here. I don't want to put too much pressure on because then I'm going to cut myself. Oh. Hey, there we go. Alright, so just a little bit of pressure. Okay. And then let's take this guard off, and I believe it's orientated like that, so... Put you up here. Let's put the bracket back in first, and then I can put the camera in orientated. Oh, that might be the wrong way. Okay. And so it has to hook up there, but it wraps around. So something like this. Oops, I think I'm a little off. Didn't snap in correctly, no. Oops. Let's try hooking up first. Oops, sorry, my bald head got in the way. It's not fitting in right. Did I order the wrong freaking part? $14.74. It's an iPad Air, which is this. Are these really two different things? Because then I might have just screwed myself. Could have sworn I read 5. Well, let's see here real quick. Let me just check my digitizers. Antenna. The charge port solder, but that's same with the 5. Yeah, that is a different. Wait, is it? Yeah, that's a different camera. Damn it. That means the home button is wrong as well. But the rear-facing camera, no, rear-facing camera is wrong too, I believe. I mean, front-facing. Well then, so I messed up. This is why you should check your stuff before you order it. Don't be like Andrew, kids. Don't be stupid. Well, at the very least, I know you can still test it when you have the parts disconnected. So at least I can do that. So let me grab the LCD. I'm gonna put these parts off to the side because they're obviously wrong. What did I just drop? Oh. My screwdriver fell. Yeah. So we'll just do process of elimination, I guess. So I'll start with the rear-facing camera disconnected. And then we'll take that out and reconnect the battery. Normally it's pressured enough to work, but I like to double check. Alright, so here we go. I think last time I had last time I had to actually hook up something to it, so let me get a cable. One of you for power. What are you for? Oh. Okay. Disconnect you temporarily, and I had a lightning cord. There you are. Oh, alright. I know it's a pretty colored cable too, isn't it? Let's see what happens here. Okay. Alright, so we still got the red flashing screen. Alright. Next step is I'm going to disconnect the other camera. So that's going to be the front-facing one. So that is now disconnected fully. And seeing if that'll make a difference. Okay. All right. 0 for 2. And the last one was potentially the home button. So that means... So, man, I don't know how I'm going to show this. The home button connector is underneath the LCD flex, which I guess I can just disconnect for now. There we go. Normally held down with a little bit of tape. got a little flip lock down here, so you just gotta pop that sucker up, disconnect it. There we go. So the home button is now disconnected fully. Woo! Let us try again and see if this works. And then at the very least, if this is just a failed endeavor, well, I didn't spend much on the parts, so it's not the end of the world. And then I can show you how to disconnect everything and then put it all back together. Alright, so I have none of the cameras attached. I have the home button disconnected. It'll still turn on, but obviously it's going to function weird because it's going to be missing 3 components. So if this doesn't work, then for sure we know that it's a data corruption, which I think can be fixed by just restoring it from an iTunes. I don't know. I'd have to check that. Or it could just be completely bricked. Oh, okay, so we don't have the red anymore. Now we just got some boot looping going on. At least I think it's boot looping. Nope, damn it. Why you tease me? Oh well, it was worth a shot. C'est la vie. Well, unfortunately, that didn't fix the problem. But like I said, I wasn't super confident with it in the first place. I guess if it is a data corruption, I can look into seeing what it would take to fix that red screen, which I think would be just a restore from iTunes. I don't know. Maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll try it off camera and then give an update in a future video, seeing if that'll if that fixes it. Well, as it stands right now, this will just be until I can get, unless it actually gets fixed. This will just be used for parts, which not the end of the world. I mean, it's still got original parts in it. So that means I need to disconnect the battery again, just to be safe. Put my divider in. Oh, also, if you see those special ones with like the notches cut out of them, you can make that with just a scissors. Just taking one of these and cutting it by like, I think it's like maybe a 1/4 inch in on each side and taking out the middle. That'll do the same thing. Okay, so put that there, and me taking apart the original camera was useless, but at least I got parts for iPad 5s, and honestly, the iPad 5, a lot of those parts are used in the 6, 7, and 8s as well, so Apple wasn't very intuitive when it came to the newer devices. I think they increased the front-facing, or maybe the front-facing camera better, but maybe the rear's the same, the batteries are the same. They honestly didn't do much. Okay, so that's in. Let's put the shield back on. Ah! Come back here. Alright, so I got to the point where then it would be if it was like a normal screen replacement. So at this point, if you're looking just to replace the screen, what you would do then is disconnect the screen, disconnect your connector to your digitizer. So these two portions right here. So, whoops, come on, 1 and 2. So that would be fully separated. You would then remove the cover, remove the holder for your front-facing camera, which that's normally just held with a little adhesive. Then you can put like some super glue or some double-sided kind of stuff, the red adhesive if you want to hold it in place. You would then have to do the home button as well, because like I said, if you want the Face ID to work, you need to transfer this, or sorry, the Touch ID, you need to transfer that because these components here are what's important for that. So what I do generally is I take an X-Acto knife or like a small scraper and I work underneath the bracket here because that is held on with some rubber cement. And then if you heat it up enough, this should just pop straight out the back, pull it over to the left, and then you would just repeat that going over to the other side. Putting the bracket on can be a little finicky though. If I ever get another iPad, I'll show you a way to do it. But pretty much what it is in this case, you just need to line it up with the holes here, make it nice and easy, and then make sure that when it's being held down, you can click it from the back side. You can't hear anything. I don't have that sensitive of a camera, but you can definitely feel it if it clicks. And then at this point, this is where you put new adhesive down as well. Since this is still super sticky, I'm just going to reuse this adhesive, but that's because it's the original screen. Not too surprising there. And then we're going to do all of our steps in reverse. And this will, this will get better explained when I get a video where I actually need to, replace the screen on an iPad. Obviously, I was hoping to get this fixed, and now that I'm not, I'm a little bit bummed out. Not the end of the world. What is bothering me is the fact that this isn't going in correctly. There we go. And then put this tape back on top. Doesn't need to be perfect. Not like really Apple works on the 5s anymore anyways, so they're not going to be able to tell. Or sorry, the Airs. Go. And then we get our LCD, which I wouldn't bother cleaning until you have it in here fully seated. And also this would be the time where then you test your screen to make sure it's actually touching and everything. So you just connect it up, apply power, and then turn it on, double check, make sure all the touches is working on it, just flip it over, Frankenstein it. Put all the screws back on. Whoop. Sometimes the screws like to get stuck, so always make sure to magnetize your screwdrivers so they don't go flying off anywhere. Or the screws don't. And then hopefully I have another video coming out in a couple days. I got another fun project that came in. It should be a pretty simple one, but it'll be a neat little thing to show because something you don't get very often these days. I'm not gonna spoil it though. Oh, I know for all the teens amount of people that watch this channel. All right, so then at this point, when I'm putting in the final screws for the LCD, this is when I would do the final cleaning for the LCD. Normally, I'll clean microfiber. There are certain sprays you can use to clean them off, but honestly, what I found out is if you just breathe on it and mist them up with your breath, and then you clean up over the top of those, it gets a good chunk of the stuff that you need off of it. It's not going to get like heavy glue or anything, but it's going to get the small fingerprints that might be on there or anything like that. And then also remove the inner screen for the digitizer. A lot of them come with two-sided screens, so you have to remove that portion. Remove it just before you close. That way reduce the amount of debris that gets in. And then normally I would take like a canned air and just quick little spray. In this case, it looks like it's sprayed. Looks like I gleeped on it a little bit, so I left a little mark. So I'm just gonna. Obviously, this one's not perfect because this one's just gonna be used for parts now. But then what you would do is close it back up. You do have these flexes down here that you need to sort of shove into this little opening, which hopefully when it zooms in there, you'll see better. Easy way to fix that is if you bring it all the way over, and it's gonna be hard to show, but crap, that's almost impossible to show. You can see them poking out on the other side. If you take a small spudger and you give them a little shove, they'll kind of slide right in, and then you would just get, so this side's lined up nice and neat, and then you can press down along the whole way. And then at this point, this is where you would heat it up for a few minutes, and then do whatever way you do to apply pressure to the corners. So if you have like a press kind of thing where you squeeze it down, or if you just put a bunch of weight on top of it in some sort of mold. What I have currently is, I've showed these before on a Galaxy, so I have these little clamps, these individual clamps, which they work okay, but the main thing is it's not an even spread across the outside or across all the edge, because obviously they're all individually tightened, unless you got like, unless you have the ability to, you know, feel force or something like that, and you know exactly what it is, then you could use these more often. But until I get something like that, these are what I'll use. So I'll just heat it up, put these around the outside, and let it sit for, you know, 10-15 minutes while it hardens up, and then that will be it. So unfortunately, it looks like our little adventure didn't work out, but you know, it's one of those things that the parts were super inexpensive, maybe $8 altogether. So if it did work, fantastic. I could either give it away or, you know, sell it off for a few bucks. But in the end, it's not the end of the world, but that's why I do it. I like to try and fix stuff, which is what a lot of tech people enjoy. It's not necessarily if it'll work at all or not, it's if it'll be the trying aspect. So if you do want to do that yourself, you know, feel free to keep watching the videos. Hopefully the stuff I will show. And I actually am curious if anybody wants me to list what kind of supplies I have or what I use for my normal repairs. If that's something that's interested, you know, let me know down below. God, it feels weird. It feels shitty saying stuff like that, but yeah, whatever. Everybody, hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I will talk to you later.